Welcome to the weekly press briefing of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, where we aim to provide journalists with an update on the latest developments at the court and the opportunity to ask questions. On the 23rd of May, the Specialist Chambers of the Constitutional Court renewed its election of Judge Vidar Stensland as presiding judge for a term of 1 year, as provided for in the Rules of Procedure of the Specialist Chamber of the Constitutional Court. The Kosovo Constitution says that the Specialist Chamber of the Constitutional Court shall be composed of 3 international judges and shall exclusively decide on any constitutional referrals related to the Specialist Chambers and the Specialist Prosecutor's Office. The Specialist Chamber of the Constitutional Court acts as a human rights protection mechanism in The Hague. Accused persons and victims may make referrals to this independent panel of judges in relation to any violations of their individual rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution, after the exhaustion of all possible appeals mechanisms. The Specialist Chambers has issued several public decisions on referrals by accused persons to this chamber, and these can be found on the KSC website along with an explanation of the judge's reasoning in each case. The Specialist Chamber of the Constitutional Court has also reviewed the KSC Rules of Procedure and Evidence applied by the trial panels in order to ensure that the rules meet all of the human rights standards guaranteed by the Kosovo Constitution. In the case of Hashim Thaçi, Kadri Veseli, Recep Selimi, and Jakub Krasniqi, on the 15th of May, the trial panel rejected a request by the defense to reconsider the admission into evidence of a witness statement in written form only. The panel found that the defense had failed to demonstrate that the panel committed a clear error of reasoning when admitting this evidence. The panel further noted that the defense had misrepresented the decision to admit the statement in written form when arguing that the evidence was admitted on the assumption that a witness would be available for cross-examination. The panel recalled that in its decision, it found that any constraint in cross-examination would be accounted for by the panel when it evaluated the weight and probative value of this evidence. On the 27th of May, in the same case, the trial panel decided on a prosecution request to admit evidence related to the testimony of an expert witness. The judges granted in part the request, but rejected the admission of some portions of source material associated with the witness's expert report. In a separate decision on the same day, the judges admitted some of the evidence proposed by the prosecution in connection with the testimony of a second expert witness, as well as 2 items requested to be admitted into evidence by the defense of Mr. Veseli and Mr. Krasniqi related to this expert's testimony. The panel further instructed the prosecution to file a public redacted version of the expert report. On 28th of May, the Victims' Counsel in this case indicated that he would be ready to present evidence in court during the weeks of the 7th and the 14th of July, pending the outcome of any decision by the trial panel on defense motions to dismiss the charges. Victims' Counsel requested to call 2 experts who were authors of a report on the harm suffered by the participating victims in this case. He also sought the admission of the written testimony of 6 participating victims and a number of evidentiary materials. In the case of Hashim Thaçi, Bashkim Smakaj, Fadil Fazliu, Isni Kilaj, and Hayrudin Kutsi, the appeals panel on the 27th of May granted a request by the prosecution to make available to the parties several filings concerning the appeals of Mr. Thaçi and Mr. Selimi against the special investigative measures ordered by the single judge in 2023. The appeals panel also instructed the registrar to execute the reclassification of the prosecution's request as public. Thank you, and if there are any questions, I can take them now. Okay, if there are no questions, then this concludes the briefing. Thank you.